Hey, this is Dr. Corey Glenn with Blue Sky Bio, and I'm going to do a video here that is just demonstrating the new Shining 3D intraoral scanner. This is their Aoralscan, and this is only the second scan I've actually done with this. I just barely have used this at all. I did a scan a few moments ago, and now I'm just making a video. So to me, that says a lot for the simplicity and the intuitiveness of the software. So I'm just going to do a demonstration on some printed models of a routine crown prep. Okay, so this is the initial page that opens up. So the scanner plugs in via USB, and then there's also a dongle that needs to be inserted in whatever computer you're running this on, also a USB, and that allows the scanner to run. We could put in the patient information, designate the tooth that you're going to be scanning. You can do them as restorations or orthodontics. This is going to be tooth number 3, and you can change the numbering system to whatever you're most comfortable with. And then also go and designate a tooth on the opposing arch as the antagonist. That's going to let the software know that we're scanning not only an upper but also a lower model. Of course, you can come in and tell it if it's implant based, which adds a couple little steps in the process, of a scan both with and without the scan body. You can tell it the material that you're using. Let's do a zirconia crown, and you can put in any notes for your lab if you're going to direct upload this to the lab via this upload portal. So let's go ahead and save this, and as soon as you push save, you can go and hit scan, and now the software is ready for you to begin scanning. And it's telling me the calibration is out of date, which is okay. I'm just doing this for a demo. So very intuitive software. It's going to start at the upper left. So this was your prescription, and it's just going to walk you through step by step with each thing that you need to do. So it's going to start on the upper arch. And what I need to do is click the play button, tell it I'm ready to start scanning. And now I'm just going to start on the second molar area and begin working my way around the arch, capturing the data. Now, every one of those little clicks that you're hearing is the software acquiring data. That's individual pictures being taken. And if you ever get lost, maybe you get ahead of it, you just need to go back to a familiar area where it has already picked it up and just start back from that area and work your way towards the areas where you have not yet scanned. Okay, so if you look at that clock up there, we're at about 45 seconds and have basically captured the whole arch. And I'm by no means going fast here. Um, I'm again the second time I've ever used this ever, so I'm definitely no expert on this. You can look at the models. If I stop here briefly, you're going to be able to see where you're missing data. So those green areas are areas of missing data that I need to get. If that was on a non-critical area, I wouldn't worry about it much, but that's obviously on my prep. And so um, I just need to go back into those areas. You can see let's filled that in and just add the data. Make sure on your prep that you've gotten all of the critical areas. You want to make sure that you don't have any holes around your margin or anything like that. Okay, so that looks great. You can see I picked up a little bit of my finger there, which is okay. The software is going to extract that out when it cleans the data up. With that done, click the check mark. That tells it you're done with the upper arch. And now it takes you to the next step, which is the lower. So once I'm ready to do that, I click on the play button and begin scanning on the opposing arch. So just work your way around, make sure you're capturing both buccal and lingual. And capturing the last of this here will pretty much complete the lower scan. So again, I'm pretty impressed with overall speed, especially to not know what the heck I'm doing since I'm not an experienced user with this. Software seems intuitive, scanner seems plenty fast enough, and that will complete the lower. You can look it over, make sure there's no critical areas that are missed. That looks good, so I'll click the check mark. The next step it'll take us to is to capture the occlusion. And so when it takes us to the next step right here, we just need to come in, begin capturing data on your buccal bite. Oh, and I do have to hit the play button. Sorry, I'm trying to scan and didn't have that done yet. So now the software is capturing the buccal bite, and you don't have to have that much data. It's going to grab the models and orient them as soon as it has enough data, as you see right there. And now you can click pause button and move forward once you see that your models articulate properly. Okay, I'll check that, and this next step, this is where it's going to go ahead and optimize the data, cut out any excess junk or noise that there might be, clean up holes, all of the stuff that needs to be fixed, it's doing in this step. So it takes about a minute or so, but this is non-clinical time, right? This, assume as the doctor that you've just finished your scan, captured your buccal bite, and now you're done. You could just walk out of the room because the only things left to do are to optimize the data and then do a few things like mark your margins. So this step does take about a minute or so. I'll time lapse this so you don't have to watch that, but it'll just be a few more seconds. Okay, the data has been cleaned up now. You see how it removed my finger, the noise and all that kind of stuff. And we can just give this a look over, make sure we like everything. But this looks really good. It should be noted also that the models appear pretty bland. That's because I'm scanning some printed models, but this does save in color. Okay, so if you like having the color distinction between tissue and tooth, you will have that available to you with this scanner. I'm going to go ahead and click now to the next button in the menu. Again, very intuitive, just leads you right along the process flow. And with this, what we're doing is aligning the scans to the arch form that we have over on the right-hand side of the page. We want to get the midline where it's going through the center of the teeth. And you want to make sure that you align to the occlusal plane as well. So you notice this horizontal component right here. Left mouse is to spin. The right mouse is going to bodily move this. So I can bodily move this up, and that's looking great now. We can click the check mark. And last step, we're going to tell it, where the tooth is that we've prepped. Click that. It's going to allow us to go ahead and draw your margins. So I know a lot of doctors really like the idea of being able to mark their own margins. You can do that. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to just do 4 dots. So I kind of evenly space them around. I work my way around the arch, placing these. And then one more. And it will do an auto margin proposal. But obviously you've got the chance to go back and correct this and find any areas that you might not like where it's drawn the margin. So let's zoom in here and just really scrutinize this. If you feel like it's not following in an area, like right here, it's cut off a bit, you can just add a dot with a double click and that will straighten it out. You can also just grab any of those nodes and move them to wherever they need to be, like so. So anywhere that I feel like it might have gotten just a hair off, I'm just going to add some information. That looks good, that looks good. And I can see that one fell off the edge just a little bit. So I'm going to scoot that one up ever so slightly. All right, so our margin is marked. That looks great. Click the checkbox. And the last thing here, this is evaluating for undercuts, so it's going to propose the path of draw. And as you can see here, that blue gives us an indicator of where undercuts are on this. And we're not worried about stuff like that, like this. What we're worried about mainly is just our prep. This one does have a bit of a divot in the prep. That's no problem. Your design software would take care of that very easily. You can look at the contacts and try to get the best path of draw possible. So let's suppose I wanted a different path of draw and evaluate it from, say, this angle. If I click this button, it will reset the path of draw to that and give us new indicators in color of where that path of draw is. Try it again. And what I'm trying to do is basically get this to where I evenly share about the same amount of undercut on this tooth and this tooth. That looks great. So now we are ready to proceed. So you check OK, and we're done with the process now. You could further edit data if you want. You could cut on things. This is one thing I would suggest doing is clicking here to evaluate the bite. And what you're looking at here is a color intensity map, and this tells us where the contacts are. And what you should expect to see is nice even contacts all the way across the arch wherever the patient has occlusion. If they went into some funky bite and you had it off, then you might want to go back and rescan that. But that would usually look like one or two hot spots, but not this nice interdigitation that we see right here with even contacts across. Again, these are printed models. I was squeezing these together at the anterior of the mouth, which is why they're a little higher in intensity there. So that completes the entire process. I'm going to OK this, and at this point we are ready to go ahead and go back to the home screen. You could now upload this to BioBigBox or the lab of your choice. You could also just explore and open the files on your computer. Notice that you have a lot of files saved. This has the upper, lower, and buccal bite in both STL and OBJ. It's got the necessary construction data info if it's going to be opened in exocad. But let's just briefly show you the models in Mesh Mixer. I'll open up one of the STLs just to let you look at it and to get an idea of what that STL looks like in a program outside of the Shining program. So this is just Mesh Mixer, free STL viewing software. And here's the model. Again, very clean data, great detail capture. This is a nice looking model. If you wanted to see how dense the mesh is, you could go to view and turn on the wireframe. And this wireframe again shows a very highly detailed mesh right here and really good quality. Okay, I'll turn that back off, and I'll pull in the the lower model as well, just to show you that this does save the upper and lower models and the buccal bite in the correct orientation, right? This is not going to have to be stitched together in another software. Rather, it's going to pull these models in already stitched in the proper orientation, as you see right here. So again, I'm by no means an expert. This is the second scan I've ever done with this scanner, but it's a very easy one to use and super intuitive, and I think it's a great deal for the price. So I hope you found that helpful.